Good morning, everyone. I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome everyone to the State of the Guard address for 2021. My name is Kevin Fasik. I am currently the chair of the State and County Chambers Joint Military Affairs Committee. We are the sponsors of this event. And I want to, as I said, welcome everyone who is on the line and participating. A couple of initial matters. We are going to hear throughout the program presentations from Governor Carney and from members of our congressional delegation, Senators Carper and Coons, and Representative Blunt Rochester. I wanted to thank them all for taking the time to be with us today. The remarks from the governor and Senator Carper are recorded, but we are privileged to have Senator Coons and Representative Blunt Rochester on the line with us. I also want to acknowledge some state officials who are participating. Excuse me, I understand we have State Senator Tizzy Lockman on the line, and we also have our state auditor, Kathleen McGinnis. So I want to thank both of you for your support and for your participation. Let's see here. Also, thanking our sponsors for today's event. We have Assurance Media, Auto Team Delaware, and Offit Kerman Attorneys at Law. Big shout out. I feel awkward shouting out to my own firm, but it is what it is. But a big thank you to the folks at Assurance Media and Auto Team Delaware for your participation and your sponsorship. One last item, logistically, when the general is making his presentation, if anyone has questions, please enter those using the chat function. And when the general has concluded his remarks, he'll have a few minutes for Q&A. Without further ado, I'm going to be introducing a combined video here. We have a video that was prepared by the Delaware National Guard, which will be followed by remarks from Governor Carney and remarks from Senator Carper. And if I don't give a shout out to him as a retired Navy man, I would not be doing my duty. So I will cue over to the folks who are really running the show and ask them to start the video.
It's already the new year for many people around the world. Let's take a look at how they celebrated.
Live at the Marriott Marquis in New York City, there are over 1 million revelers here getting ready to ring in 2020.
Now to growing concerns about the deadly coronavirus officially hitting the U.S. Here's what we know.
The first case of the deadly Chinese coronavirus making its way to the U.S.
What we know is that it's spreading. That's not really a surprise. What we don't know is a lot about this virus.
Well, citizen soldiers from all 50 states are answering the call to help their neighbors get through this crisis.
I want to take this opportunity to talk about what the National Guard is doing in response to COVID-19. It's a historic event, unlike any we have faced.
In Delaware, there are now 310 confirmed deaths.
Cars lined up early, even before the testing began.
Delaware is holding 2 saliva-based drive-through testing events.
This is being conducted as a drive-through so they can get people in and out.
First of all, the Delaware National Guard has been an instrumental partner. They're assisting us as we speak.
Soldiers were notified this weekend, came on in this weekend, trained, and here we are executing.
To have the Guard have the opportunity to mobilize and come out and contribute to the citizens and their well-being, it's a big deal, and we're all so proud of our men and women in the Delaware National Guard who have been able to step up and help in the community.
I joined the Guard to help our community and also to fend for our country. So anything I can do to give back and give my service is what I try to do.
That's why I joined the National Guard, is to help our community and fight for our country. I think it gives them a perspective in how they see us at, we're people just like them. And we do whatever we can to help our community.
Having that flexibility and able to adapt to any situation is critical in this type of an environment. It's an honor to do my job. It's an honor to be a nurse and to care for others.
I feel really good. It's what you sign up for as a Delaware National Guard soldier, to actually be out there and assisting our neighbors.
I'd like to thank everyone for joining us on this special day to honor a great American, a great Delawarean, and a great teammate. We all recognize the tremendous loss we have experienced in the passing of Major General Carol Timmons. However, we also recognize how fortunate we were to have had her on our team and leading us as we serve our state and nation.
Well, Corporal Erin Sheets was assigned to our motor section. Within the past year, I can say she definitely took on a lot of responsibility.
She always had a good sense of humor. She was always laughing and having fun, and always trying to find the best in whatever the situation was. I think that she was, a big inspiration to us. I'd like to have a lot of soldiers with that mindset.
We certainly appreciate our family members and friends who are with us this morning as we recognize the dedication and the sacrifice of our men and women of the 238th as they begin their deployment in support of Kosovo Force 28 mission.
When I first got here, I did not think I was going to be a crew chief. I'm afraid of heights, and I thought, I don't know if this is something I'm going to be able to do. But you know what? I feel like everyone around me and my leadership really pushed me. As soon as I came in, they're just like, you're going to be a crew chief. This is what we're going to do. To know that I'm the first African-American female to be a crew chief, I feel like it's just a milestone in aviation. I think it's pretty cool, and it just opens the door to other women.
It's very important that programs such as this that leverage all that interaction and leverage all that knowledge. And of course, looking at the situation we're in right now with COVID, well, our program didn't even falter, to be honest, because we immediately went to a technology-based program and engaged, and we really haven't missed a beat at all with it.
As I stand before you this morning, I see the same commitment and dedication in the eyes over those masks and below those hats. Service before self, dedication to the mission. Whatever you need, whatever it takes, the Delaware Army and Air National Guard is ready to respond. And as your Commander-in-Chief here on the stateside, I can't be prouder of what I've seen day to day, airmen and soldier alike, right through this whole COVID-19 pandemic. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be with all of you this morning for this year's State of the Guard. I wish I could be with you in person, but virtual will have to do this year. Thank you to General Berry and the Joint Command Staff, to Mike Caranta and Bob Chadwick, to the members of the Joint Military Affairs Committee, our Guardsmen and women, and to everyone joining us here today. Since I've had the privilege of being your Commander-in-Chief, Guardsmen and women have been deployed at home and abroad. They've protected their neighbors here in Delaware, helped their fellow citizens across the country, and defended democracy across the globe. And this year, they defended democracy and our nation's capital after January the 6th. This idea of the citizen soldier is so fundamental to our democracy. And this year, that's become even clearer. Our Guardsmen and women have been on the front line of the COVID-19 pandemic since the beginning. They prepared alternative hospital locations in the event we exceeded our hospital capacity. They helped the Food Bank of Delaware distribute meals at drive-through events. They assisted with testing sites across the state. They vaccinated our most vulnerable Delawareans as we work to distribute the COVID-19 vaccine quickly and equitably. They helped ensure our elections were safe and secure, and they were deployed to Washington, D.C. to protect our democracy and to support the inauguration of our own Joe Biden as President of the United States. This has been a challenging 11 months. Time and time again, we've called on the Delaware National Guard, and they're always there. They're always ready. There is nothing that our Guardsmen and women can't do and won't do. And I'm honored to be your Commander-in-Chief and Governor of so many incredible Delawareans. Thank you for your service and for your sacrifice. And may God bless you, may God bless our great state, and may God bless the United States of America.
Well, good morning, everybody. I wish we could all be together. My hope is when we do the State of the Guard again next year, the business community, the other State Chamber of Commerce, the men and women of the Guard, my hope is we can be together in person with this COVID vaccine, this whole COVID-19 pandemic behind us. When I was privileged to be governor of Delaware, one of the proudest portions of my job that I most appreciated doing as retired Navy captain was to be the Commander-in-Chief for the Delaware National Guard. I love doing that, and I'm still grateful for those opportunities. I was down in Washington with Senator Chris Coons and Lisa Blunt Rochester for much of the last couple of months, and I had an opportunity to, along with Chris and Lisa, to literally be with our Guardsmen and women, hundreds of them, and to thank them in person for their service. But whether the need is for, oh Lord, a riot and the kind of challenges we faced in Washington, making the capital secure, or whether the need is to send our troops over to Kosovo, as we have 55 members of the 238th Aviation Unit are over there right now. About a year or so ago, we had roughly 300 men and women from the 198th Signal Battalion who were in I think they were in Kuwait and places in the Middle East, but you're all over the place. When I was governor, I remember my last State of the State address that I gave. When it was over, we had an open house at the governor's office in the Legislative Hall. And one of the people who came through to say hi was an older lady, and she said to me, this about, gosh, year 2000. So he said to me, she said, were you the governor when we had the flood of the century? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, were you the governor when we had the drought of the century? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, were you the governor when we had the ice storm of the century? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, were you the governor when we had the blizzard of the century? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, you know what I think, Governor? I said, no, what do you think, ma'am? She said, I think you're bad luck. I think you're bad luck. She smiled when she said it. But fortunately, we had good luck because we had the Delaware National Guard, and they were there to help us through every one of those challenges. And whether it happens to be an attack from Mother Nature, or the need to be on the other side of the world, or the need to help out in the pandemic, or the need to help us out in Washington, D.C. to help maintain our democracy, I just want to say thank you all. Thank you to the employers for supporting our Guard, and for others who serve and the families that support them. We love you very much. Look forward to being with you soon. God bless you all. Bravo, as we say in the Navy, bravo Zulu. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a privilege to have Governor Carney and Senator Carper. It's now my privilege to make an introduction for U.S. Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester. As I think I'm stealing somebody else's campaign slogan when I say we only send one, let's send the best. And we're privileged to have her with us today. Without further ado, Congresswoman, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much to our Governor Carney, General Barry, our senators, Chris Coons and Tom Carper, all of the leadership and members of the Delaware National Guard, the Chamber, and to my fellow Delawareans viewing, good morning. It's my pleasure to be with you today. And I want to start off with a special thank you to Mike and Bob and the Delaware State Chamber for your work in putting together this important event. And I also want to congratulate all those who will be honored today. I think it is an understatement to say that 2020 was a year like no other. While we faced a pandemic, dealing with a racial reckoning, also the passing of incredible people like Major General Carl Timmons, who we loved. We rose to the occasion. And it really goes back to what the governor said for the National Guard, dedication to the mission. Typically, we would be thanking you for being deployed to other countries in places like you were, like Southwest Asia or Kosovo, or for helping in natural disasters, even what you did right here in our own state with the food bank and with our hospitals through a pandemic, or you helping to enforce our laws. But in the wake of the insurrection of January 6th, we were all shaken. And it was the response of the Guard units, at one point 429 of you, that helped push back insurrectionists on the 6th. And it was the Guard's men and women that have helped to secure the Capitol complex in the days and weeks since. I have to confess to you, I never thought in my life I'd see a day in America where we were forced to fortify the Capitol from a violent mob. But I must also tell you that seeing the members of the Delaware National Guard standing on the front steps of the Capitol, proudly and bravely defending our democracy, gave me immense reassurance and immense pride. In one of the most difficult seasons, amidst one of the most difficult years in our lifetimes, the work of the National Guard, the Delaware National Guard, has been a beacon of light and inspiration. And while we can't be together, and you've always been there for us, we want to let you know that we are here for you. We know that so many of you put your lives on hold to defend our democracy. We know that meant leaving behind your children struggling with remote learning, your significant other who's had to bear the brunt of the pandemic, sometimes alone, or a parent who's worried about contracting the virus. You had to leave even your jobs behind. So for the chamber members who've been supportive of you, we thank you too. But I want you to know that your work is vital to our democracy and it doesn't go unnoticed. And throughout this entire year, not just in Washington, the Delaware National Guard has truly been heroic in our state's efforts to battle COVID-19. As I close, I just want to say we will defeat this pandemic. We will rebuild in its wake. And hopefully next time this year, I can say thank you to you in person. Thank you so much for all that you do, and God bless you. Back to you, Kevin.
Thank you, Congresswoman. As I said, it is a privilege to have you with us today, and we thank you for your unwavering support. At this point, I want to provide a few comments on the Joint Military Affairs Committee, some of the things that we've been able to accomplish over the course of what has been a bit of a challenging year, to say the least. Our function when the JMAC was created was to build bridges and foster relationships between the business and the military community here in Delaware. I want to give a shout out to Gary Stockbridge from Delmarva Power, Gary was the inspiration and the initiate for creating this committee, and served as our chair for the first few years. Also a shout out to my good friend Don Fulton, who took over the reins and provided a steady hand at the till for several years. And you know, Don called me about a year and a half ago and said, "So Kevin, you know, we want to have this be a 2-year event, serving in the chair role. Would you be willing to undertake it next year?" And you know, as someone who served many years ago, what could I say? I volunteered, and it's been a bit of a challenging year, but we have had some terrific accomplishments. We were able to hold the Major General Vavla and Guard Youth annual golf tournament. Our function with this was securing sponsors, with all of the proceeds going to the Delaware National Guard Youth Foundation. Pleased to say we had I think a record-setting event in terms of the number of people who participated, and a shout out to everyone who was there. We will be contacting you next year for sponsorships in a hopefully COVID-free environment. The next large event, and unfortunately a number of our events could not be held over the course of this past year due to the pandemic, but we are here virtually for the Warrior Friendly Awards, which will be awarded later in the program, and for the State of the Guard event. Now it is my honor to be able to present Mike Quaranta, or introduce, excuse me, Mike Quaranta, President of the Delaware State Chamber of Commerce, and Bob Chadwick, President of the Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce. Mike, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you very much, Kevin. Much has been said, and I think much is understood and known about the important work of the chamber, excuse me, of the Guard. Chamber too, but really here, we're here to celebrate the Guard, and for all that they do. You know, Guard service is so important, as has been mentioned here today, and everybody understands, but I think it's important for us to repeat it and acknowledge it, and I'm glad we're here. You know, we're also grateful for all the employers who support our Guardsmen and Guardswomen and their families during all of their years of service. It's just critically important. The Guard has great benefits and offers employers some rather remarkable people, both with skills training, leadership training, and a lot of the other soft skills that employers of every industry and every size all value. That said, there are other training opportunities out there for Guards, men and women, their families. Forward Delaware, and I would encourage everyone, if you've not taken a look at Forward Delaware, that everybody do that and spread the word around your community. We're grateful for this event. We're grateful for JMAC. We're proud to be part of it. And Kevin, thank you for your leadership, and for all the men and women at the Guard, and also for our employer community that does their part to support them, and the winners that'll be announced later today. With that, let me turn it over to my colleague and friend, Bob Chadwick, with the Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce. Bob?
Thank you very much, Mike, and thanks all of you for joining us today. It's hard to follow up on what Mike just said. I think he laid out pretty well how important the role of the Guard is to the business community, and how much we appreciate all that you do. Please know how much we enjoy your commitment to your mission, how inspired we are by your commitment to your mission. I know that I've been, as long as I've been with the Chamber, and I think it's probably about 14 years now, I think in almost every year we've had a staff member who's not a member of the Guard, but whose spouse or significant other was a member of the Guard. And so we really appreciate them as well for what they do on the home front, to keep the home front together while you are serving your mission. and we know what that burden is. And so we just want to tip the hat to those folks as well. So we're really pleased to be part of this Joint Military Affairs Committee with the State Chamber in order for us to show our support for the Guard. And we very much appreciate you. And thanks all again for joining us today. Thank you. And so now I think we're going to turn this back over to for the presentation of the Warrior Friendly Business Award. So we'll turn this over to Don Fulton. Don.
Thank you, Bob and Mike, for your comments. I am thrilled and honored to, on behalf of the Joint Military Affairs Committee, to present the 2021 Warrior Friendly Business Awards. These are awards that are presented annually to recognize businesses in Delaware who do amazing things to support, hire, train our National Guard members, veterans, and active duty service members as well. We award the these awards in two categories. One for larger businesses with 50 or more employees, and one for small businesses that have less than 50 employees. And they are presented to Delaware businesses that hire members of the Guard and former veterans, and as I said earlier, active duty members as well, and preparing these members and their families for the workforce and transitioning from the military to civilian life. These awards are, as I said, are presented annually, and each recipient receives a stunning crystal eagle trophy that is presented for them to have in their place of business. We also have a permanent plaque that the governor is kind enough to allow us to hang in the vestibule of his Wilmington office, so that these folks can get recognized for all the work they do. We're going to begin the awards today with the larger size businesses, and our recipient for 2021, the past award winners. So we begin presenting these awards in 2015, and the award winners are in front of you. Many who not only received the award in the year of the receipt, but also continue to provide amazing support for our veterans. Moving on to our first award, our large category winner is the Bank of America. Bank of America has a very long tradition of assisting and supporting military personnel and their families. Last year marked the centennial support, a tradition which began when they started providing financial support and products for members of the armed forces at Fort Sam Houston, Texas in 1920. In addition, as it mentions in the notes there, last February, the Bank of America surpassed its 5-year goal to hire 10,000 veterans, National Guardsmen, and reservists. Locally, the bank established the Veterans Onboarding Initiative, which pairs current Bank of America employees with current employees to provide guidance and mentorship. They also created a military support and assistance group, which includes about 1,000 employees and provides a support system for both veterans and active military personnel and their family who are both currently living in Delaware and deployed overseas. Accepting the award this morning on behalf of Bank of America is the market president, Chip Rossi. Chip.
Thank you so much. And let me just first start by saying thank you to General Barry and the men and women in the Delaware National Guard that make tremendous, they and their families make tremendous sacrifices every day to not only protect our state, protect our country, and protect our democracy. And for that, I think I can speak for all of us. We are eternally grateful for your service. In addition, Don, I want to thank you and Kevin and the committee for this recognition. and the Delaware State Chamber and Newcastle County Chamber as well. I'd also like to recognize the other companies who have continued to further the efforts of hiring and training and promoting service members, veterans, and their families to our local workforce here in Delaware. And I want to congratulate all of them for the work that they've done in the past and the work that they continue to do to continue to support men and women serving our country. I also want to convey my congratulations to the Middletown Area Chamber of Commerce for their amazing work and their team's done in support of veterans in the military organizations and initiatives. It's an honor to be recognized with them this morning. On behalf of all my teammates at Bank of America, and we employ 6,000 teammates across the state, I can tell you that I'm truly honored and humbled to accept this award. And here's the award that Don, as you can see it virtually, but now you can see it. It is heavy and it is beautiful. It is probably the most beautiful award I have ever seen. And it's represents really the strength of the military service that's there, that in the work that you do day in and day out. And on behalf of our teammates, and I also have these men and women that lead our efforts for our military support and assistance group locally. And as Don mentioned, more than 1,000 members. These folks and the men and women that make up our membership do a wonderful job supporting not only folks that are in servicing and balancing everything they have to do in their life, but also the family members as well. And I want to thank them for the work that they do. As Don mentioned, we celebrated our centennial of serving the military back in 1920. We started there at Fort Sam, Houston, and we take it seriously. We think that supporting the military group and men and women is critically important. Not only is it the right thing to do, it also makes great business sense to do that as well. And over the last 6 years, we've hired 10,000 people across the country, hundreds here in Delaware, to support our efforts as a company. And we will continue to remain steadfast, just as the other companies that you've seen on our efforts to continue to attract, develop, and retain talent from the military. And Don mentioned we have 1,000 people in the group. And the reality of it is that they recognize, and we recognize, that transitioning from service into the private sector can be challenging at times. And as a result of that, this team developed, and Don alluded to it, our Battle Buddies program, where they work with folks that are integrating it back into the workforce. And it's served really, really well in continuing to provide professional guidance and mentorship as needed for these folks. I also want to thank Christine Kubik. I think Christine's on the Zoom call as well. And Christine, on behalf of our company, we want to thank all the work that you've done and support that you've provided our company and the partnership that we have with the Delaware National Guard. In closing, I just want to sincerely thank all of you for this wonderful recognition. This is about a belief that we have around the fact that it's the right thing to do, and it's good business to continue to support the military. And we're so very, very proud to be a part of this distinguished group that's received this recognition. And I'm proud to represent our company here as the market president. And on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for this tremendous recognition. Don, back to you.
Thank you, Chip, and congratulations to you personally and all of your colleagues, both here in Delaware and throughout the country. And that will lead us into our second award for employers with 50 and less employees. And our 2021 recipient is the Middletown Area Chamber of Commerce. The Middletown Area Chamber of Commerce has a long history as well of supporting veterans and military organizations and initiatives. This nonprofit business organization was founded in 1972 by two former Navy seamen, Will Kirkwood and W. Dean Hatton, with the latter serving on the USS McCork, helping to storm Normandy at Omaha Beach on D-Day. Over the last 12 years, roughly 50% of Middletown Area Chambers of Commerce employees are military spouses. The organization has also offered many veteran-owned businesses the opportunity to participate in their incubator and collaborative workspace. In addition, they support and promote the American Legion Post 25, the VFW Post 7632, the Middletown Cadet Squadron, Veterans Outreach Ministries, and many others. Accepting the award this morning on behalf of the Middletown Area Chamber of Commerce is Roxanne Ferguson. Roxanne?
Good, thanks, Don. Good morning and happy snowy Friday, everyone. On behalf of the Middletown Area Chamber of Commerce, our board of directors and staff, we want to thank you to the Joint Military Affairs Committee and the Warrior Friendly Selection Committee for this distinguished honor. We're extremely humbled to receive this award and join the longstanding group of businesses who support our hometown heroes and their families. Our founder, Will Kirkwood, and longest standing member, Dean Hatton, were proud Navy sailors and part of our greatest generation. I was so blessed to have lunch every week with them at Rotary. To our staff, all of whom have military affiliations, we're grateful for you and your families. And to our board of directors, our business and military members, we are successful because of each of you. Thanks to everyone on this call who serves our country. Please know that you make a difference. And finally, congratulations to Bank of America. We are truly honored to be receiving this award along with your team. And like many on this call, I'm a card-carrying member of the BOA family, and will use my credit card more knowing that they support our veterans. Just don't tell my husband I said that. So finally, cheers to when we can all celebrate together in person again. Thanks. Back to you, Tom.
Thanks, Roxanne, and congratulations again to you and all your colleagues and associates at Middletown Area Chamber of Commerce. In closing, congratulations again to both of our winners. Just a heads up to those that are on the call this morning, the application process for the Warrior Friendly Business Awards go out in September each year. And we would encourage, we know that there's many businesses throughout Delaware that are doing some amazing things supporting the Guard and our veterans, and we would encourage you to submit an application and be considered for the award when we present it in February of next year. So I'm going to now turn it over to Wayne Merritt. Wayne is the Employer Outreach Chair for the Delaware ESGR, and he will be presenting the award this morning. Wayne, you're up. Wayne, are you still with us?
I am, and I just realized I was muted. Okay. Last Tuesday, February the 9th, the Delaware State Chair of the Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve, Hugh Broomall, and Vice Chair Frank Dobson and I met with Kevin Fasik at his office in Wilmington to present Kevin as the chair of the Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce Joint Military Affairs Committee with the ESGR's Seven Seals Award. The Seven Seals Award is the broadest and most inclusive award given by ESGR, and is presented at the discretion of the state chair or by ESGR senior leadership. The Seven Seals Award is presented in recognition of significant individual or organizational achievements, initiatives, or support that promotes and supports the ESGR mission, to include the efforts of more than 4,500 volunteers that carry out ESGR's mission across the nation on a daily basis. The JMAX relationship is the broadest. This JMAX relationship with the DNG began back approximately 6 years ago when their charter set forth objectives of the committee, which were to first advocate. They were to encourage and educate the Delaware business community, to provide ongoing support to the Delaware National Guard, both Army and Air, as well as all military service members, veterans, and their families, both locally and nationally, through advocacy and workforce preparations aimed at increasing employment. Second was relationship building, to build an even stronger relationship between the Delaware National Guard and the Delaware business community through ongoing events and activities. Third was to educate and to inform, to support the Delaware National Guard's effort to educate and inform the Delaware business community about the ongoing missions and major activities impacting their operations. And fourth was partnerships, to coordinate and where possible partner with other entities to enhance and support the common goal of support to all military service members and veterans and their families in Delaware. These objectives are consistent with many of ESGR's goals, particularly with informing the business community of the importance of the Guard and Reserve's mission in relationship to the Department of Defense. Another goal of ESGR is to recognize those businesses, governments, and organizations that support our Guard members and our reservists. Through events such as JMAC's support of the State of the Guard, their Warrior Friendly Awards, their support of the annual Major General Bavila Guard Youth Golf Tournament, and their ongoing advocacy and support of the Delaware National Guard, as well as our Army, Air, Navy, and Marine reservists, the Delaware ESGR is very pleased to present the 7 SEALs Award to JMAC under the leadership of Kevin Facing. Thank you, and Kevin, I think you're up.
Wayne, thank you. On behalf of myself and all of the members of the JMAC, and let's face it, it wouldn't be a military event if we didn't use the acronym. Anyone who's ever served understands that. I have to say I was surprised and quite thrilled that the ESGR selected the JMAC for this very prestigious award. We're very deeply honored that you would include us. And I also want to say I'm very pleased that we've been able to add you as a member of the JMAC going forward. We're looking forward to a very strong relationship with the ESGR and a lot of collaboration on behalf of our Guard and Reserve members in the business community. So thank you very much. Again, it's a tremendous privilege. It is now my honor to make the introduction of newly minted Brigadier General Carl Danberg. General Danberg serves as the Assistant Adjutant General for the Army. He was very recently promoted to this post, and I think it is quite an honor, first of all, to be selected to receive a star. That's a very rare and unique capstone for someone's military career. And I want to say a very hearty congratulations to you, sir. And General, the floor is yours to give us the state of the Guard.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you for the introduction. Being promoted to general officer is, you're correct. It's the capstone of a military career. It's an honor that I never anticipated, and I am truly honored to receive it. Thank you. I'd like to start out by welcoming some of our more distinguished guests. I understand Major General Bavila, one of my mentors over the years, is on the phone. Joining me from the Delaware National Guard, we have Brigadier General Wenke from the Air National Guard and Brigadier General Benson from the Army National Guard. We also are joined by Colonel Jones and Colonel Anderson from Dover Air Force Base. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us today. Thank you as well for all of the National Guard honorary commanders for being with us today. I understand there's over a dozen on the call today. Congresswoman Blunt Rochester, thank you for your comments and for participating today. I understand Senator Coons will also be dialing in shortly. He's in a meeting. Appreciate the fact that the Commander-in-Chief and Senator Carper could not be with us today, but the governor and the senator have both sent staff members that are participating today, along with Senator Lockman and Auditor McGinnis. Thank you all very much for being with us. As has been mentioned, 2020 there's no other way to describe it. What a bizarre year. The last 13 months have been incredible. And we understand that it's been a bizarre year for the business community as well, to survive the pandemic. But in the Delaware National Guard, it has been a defining year for us. From the traditional hurricanes that we experienced, the snowstorms, the ice storms, but also our worldwide deployments and the COVID issues that we had to deal with, and culminating with the presidential inauguration support and defense of our capital from the insurrection. It has been an incredible 13 months. Could you go ahead and advance the slide, please? The size of the Guard, this is something I'm sure you're all familiar with. We've got approximately 1,650 soldiers and 1,162 airmen. The 17 facilities we operate for the Army, the Newcastle County Air Base, the airframes that we've got on both sides. The one thing that we repeatedly need to bring to your attention, we are 33% of the Army budget, 15%, excuse me, we're 33% of the force, we're 15% of the budget. On the air side, we're 21% of the force and 13% of the budget. So we are a cost-effective force for the United States military. Slide. This is the current leadership of the Delaware Army National Guard. You all know Major General Barry, our Adjutant General for the past few years, but there have been several changes. If you go down the left side, I'm Brigadier General Danberg. On my civilian side, I've been a professor at the University of Delaware for 25 years, part-time, teaching constitutional law. And in my full-time employment, I am a judge of the Court of Common Pleas. Chief Wilson, directly underneath me, is full-time Command Chief Warrant Officer. He just took over that position 2 months ago. Brigadier General Benson in the center is also new to his position. He and I were promoted on the same day. He's the new director of the Joint Staff. In his full-time capacity, he is a consultant for the Department of Agriculture and is an IT expert. Directly under him, Colonel Hills is the new Joint Chief of Staff. Chief of the Joint Staff. Colonel Hills took my spot on the Joint Staff, and in his private capacity, he is the General Manager of Cone Elevator. Underneath General Winkie, who's been in her position for 2 years now, we have Kenny Haltom. Kenny Haltom is Brigadier General Haltom. He's in his full-time capacity as a prosecutor for the Delaware Department of Justice and is a career prosecutor. Next slide. So I want you to see this number, 883. That is the total number of individuals who are on active duty in one place or another from the Delaware National Guard on the date of the inauguration. It's a high water mark for the Delaware National Guard. That does not include our AGR folks, our active duty guardsmen, our full-time folks. On January 20th, I think it's safe to say we had well over 1,000 people who were serving our country on active duty. We had, if you look down to the bottom numbers, we had 429 for the presidential inauguration, 290 on what was called Task Force Griffin. I'll explain that in a moment. 69 serving the state on COVID-19 issues, and another 95 deployed worldwide. We appreciate that this has been a very busy year for the Delaware Army National Guard, and that means that it has been a very difficult year for our employers who support the service members of the Delaware National Guard. And I wanted to take a moment to thank you. I also wanted to take a moment in particular to thank Mike and Bob for their comments. Thank you for recognizing the benefits of employing members of the Delaware National Guard. We appreciate that employing service members brings challenges. It brings risks. It brings risk that your employee is going to be absent for a significant period of time. I'm happy that all of you can see past the challenges that it brings to the incredible benefits that are enjoyed by employing our service members. Congratulations and thank you to all of the award winners and for your incredible support of the service members of your Delaware Army National Guard and Air National Guard. Slide. So we're going to start by going through a little bit of the response to the capital missions. This started out, you can give me the next slide, please. This started out as the planning for this was our normal planning for the inauguration. Now, normally we employ countrywide, we employ about 10,000 soldiers in anticipation of the inauguration. We activate and bring in about 10,000 people. Delaware's commitment to that has varied over the years between 250 and 500 soldiers, or I think 400 was where we had tapped out previously. And our commitment this year was 200 soldiers to the inauguration activities. Of course, that commitment changed when our own Joe Biden was elected president of the United States, because what that resulted in is an initial surge of people that were brought on to protect, to work with the Secret Service to make sure that we were protecting President Biden, President-elect Biden's home, and to get him to DC and to protect the air base in Wilmington. That was an additional 290 soldiers that had to be brought on. It resulted in, thankfully, a very strong partnership with the United States Secret Service, a partnership that is going to need to be strong over the next 4 to 8 years, because anytime the president returns home to Delaware, there's going to have to be some National Guard involvement to support his travel. Next slide. When we had planned for the capital mission for months and planned on the 450 people going down to, the 250 people going down to DC. What we didn't plan on was the insurrection of January 6th. That resulted in a phone call that evening requesting immediate assistance from the Delaware Army National Guard. The Delaware Army National Guard activated, equipped, gave their initial service briefings, and mobilized to DC 200 soldiers and airmen within 48 hours. They were boots on ground in DC January 8th, prepared to do their duty. Again, that was 200 people that were not anticipated being deployed that we ripped out of their employers and mobilized to DC on incredibly short notice to the employers. And again, I want to thank you all for your support of our service members so that we can support our nation. We still have 91 Delaware service members on duty supporting the Capital Region. As you can see in the photographs, they're literally standing a picket line, securing the perimeter of the Capitol. and providing other support as well. We've had chaplains down in DC, medical people down in DC. We've provided a whole range of services, but the primary mission has been perimeter security. Next slide. Task Force Griffin is what we call our COVID-19 response. You can go through the slide, please. So when COVID struck, the state of emergency was declared March 12th. Now the conversations between the Delaware National Guard and Delaware Emergency Management started immediately, but we didn't receive a request for activation until approximately the 24th of March. We brought in first I believe the first troops that were called in were the CBRN group. That's our chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive unit. That's why we like acronyms, because CBRN's a whole lot easier to say. That unit has been active and continues to be active supporting Delaware Public Health. They are equipped to actually run testing, the COVID tests. We are also transporting COVID tests. The COVID, because it's a biological hazard, it has to be transported safely. We are the ones that are transporting testing kits to DC for analysis there. We are assisting the public health lab in the testing of the samples and of the creation of the test kits. I'm sorry, next slide, please. I want to make, so here are some numbers to give you an idea of what we've done. Over 8,700 test kits transported, 3,900 samples processed at the Delaware State Health Lab, 13,000 test kits built for distribution. In addition, some of the other medical support that we've been providing. So we have been tasked with assisting in the supply, inventory, and distribution of vital equipment to our hospitals. So some of you may be aware that we have a warehouse of it's a part of the strategic stockpile of the United States. Can't discuss where that is, but we have had service members working in that warehouse, getting inventory packaged for distribution and supplying it to all of our hospitals in the state of Delaware. We also, as was referenced earlier by the governor, we actually anticipated the potential of our hospitals being overwhelmed by the virus. And so we created an emergency hospital at AI DuPont to take in overflow patients. The idea being the hospital, the people that were tested positive for COVID and needed the high-end hospital services would have to be taking up the high-end beds in AI DuPont, but that meant that it would be moving other people out of the hospital. And so we created a hospital at AI DuPont to handle those individuals. We also provided direct treatment for individuals at AI DuPont, at the Delaware Psychiatric Center, and at BB Hospital, backfilling their staff when their staff became ill or overwhelmed. And we assisted in the community-based testing, which began in late May. So as you saw from the video, we've been out at testing facilities both managing the flow of people through the testing facility and actually conducting the testing, assisting people and actually participating in the COVID testing throughout the last 8 months, so at least since May. Next slide. Joint Task Force pods. This is our assistance in getting food and sanitation kits out to the citizens of Delaware. We've provided over 1 million pounds of food through the mobile food pantries of the Food Bank of Delaware. We've also distributed over 3,500 meals to individuals in need through the Aquidemic School District, and 1,600 sanitation kits created and distributed. Next slide. I've got to catch up on my other computer here with my notes, sorry. So this next slide here, the Joint Task Force mapping. So the Department of Defense calls it mapping. In the state of Delaware, in many of the states, we call this contract tracing. So we have been staffing the phone lines for the state of Delaware, and we've made over 1,400 phone calls in support of the Delaware Public Health Voluntary Mapping Program. So contacting people who may have been exposed to coronavirus. Joint Task Force steadfast support, 280 soldiers on standby to provide civil disturbance support to local law enforcement. So this was, as Congresswoman Blunt Rochester mentioned, the racial reckoning the United States is going through. That resulted in some mostly peaceful demonstrations throughout the state of Delaware. In the event that they became something less than peaceful, we were on standby. We had 280 soldiers mobilized to provide support to local law enforcement in the event that they were unable to handle the situation. And then Joint Task Force cyber support. Again, this is classified. I would love to tell you all that we were doing, but we provided 32 cyber experts to support the Delaware Department of Elections to ensure the integrity of our election system. This meant that we were both testing the election system. In other words, we were attempting to compromise it in advance, as well as providing direct support through DEMA to the Department of Elections to support our election security. Next slide. So currently we have 35 service members. We still are active in the warehouse, as I mentioned, preparing the test kits and distributing out PPE and test kits to the communities. We're also actually assisting in the collection of the vaccines, collection of the test samples, and we're administering immunizations. The electronic records warehouse, we have additional service members supporting that activity. And then we've got 23 service members who are assisting DPH in basically, this is the helpline. In the state, we call it the vaccine call center, but this is essentially the helpline for those of you who are familiar with the state structure. We have 23 service members who are supporting them, fielding phone calls for them. 38,000 phone calls. That's already, by the way, old. That number is already, we updated that number just a few days ago, and it's already out of date. But over 38,000 phone calls fielded to support Delaware Public Health. Continue, the next slide. All of this, and we're still doing things all around the country and all around the world. So next slide, please. We've had 306 service members deployed around the world. You saw on the slide the 198th Expeditionary Signal Battalion was deployed for a year. They provided valuable voice and data communications throughout the entire area of operations. I'd like to call attention, we in addition to all of the bad things that have happened, we've had a couple of notable firsts, and you saw it on the initial entry slide. The photograph that should be in the top right corner of your slide screen there is Delaware's only female warrant officer pilot. She's currently deployed to Kosovo with the 238th. She is the first warrant officer aviator in the state of Delaware. Now, I have to say, General Timmons would be incredibly proud of that, because she started out as an Army Rotary pilot herself. And I'm sure that she would be delighted to see the progress that's being made. We also had the first African-American crew chief promoted to crew chief in the Delaware Army National Guard. So again, we continue to push the boundaries. Operation Joint Guardian is the K4, that's the Kosovo deployment. That's the 238 Aviation Regiment. They are still on the ground in Kosovo. And they're providing Black Hawk support to the operations in Kosovo. Next slide. So the Air National Guard, they have 141 members deployed in 9 countries around the world. And you can see some of the missions that they have supported: Operation Inherent Resolve, Operation Freedom Sentinel, Resolute Support, Deep Freeze, the national mission team support. That's the cyber operations that I mentioned earlier, the support to the elections. They also, while the Army National Guard got the headlines, the reality is that our force in the capital region was a joint force of soldiers and airmen. Our force providing base security and providing support for the president-elect was a joint force. So the Delaware National Guard has truly been a joint force throughout this incredible year. We are getting, as it becomes more and more important, Delaware is becoming better and better at operating jointly between the Air and the Army National Guard. Next slide. Through all of this, it's become incredibly important to continue our support to our National Guard families. Next slide. So these are the events that we were able to support this year in recognition of our families. And just as our employers suffer when our service members are deployed, so do their families. But we were able to do some very special things. For example, just by way of an example from this list, we had over 60 Guard families out for that bowling event in Millsboro and in Newcastle. We were able to fill over 300 book bags and distribute them out to Guard kids in August. We turned our normal backpack school bash into a drive-through event this year, and it went it went fabulously. On this phone call is Christine Kubik, who was instrumental in making all of these events happen. We also had you'll see on the list there, the Go Ape event at Lums Pond. We had 40 Guard teams participating in resiliency and perseverance training in November. And by the looks and sounds of it, they had a great time doing it. Next slide, please. So this is our support to our community. We've attempted throughout the virus to continue to support our events. Can you go to the next slide? This has taken a bit of a hit. You'll notice that this list here is a little shorter than last year, if you noticed. Because of COVID, we haven't been able to do as many things as we could in the past. But these are some of the things that we have been able to do. The state partnership program is still going strong. The state partnership program, by the way, again, it is not finalized, so I can only mention it in vague terms. But we are hoping to expand our state partnership program with a second country. Hopefully, Senator Coons, when he joins us, is able to talk more about that. But we are looking at adding an African nation to our state program. The honorary commander program, although it's definitely been hybridized to account for the COVID issue, we've had a honorary commander program that has been running and has been extremely active. The Youth Challenge program is one of our highlight events, and that was active this year. We provide Delaware at-risk youth and high school dropouts in their late teens, so 16 to 18-year-olds, with opportunities for personal growth, for self-improvement, for academic achievement. We get them down to DC. We get them to various places. They come up to the Joint Force headquarters and meet with the TAG. It's been an incredibly successful program. And despite the challenges of COVID-19, we have been able to participate and continue that program. Next slide, please. I've thanked you all already, but I need to again thank all of the employers. Your support is absolutely critical to what we do. We want to thank you for hiring our citizen soldiers and airmen. By the way, we have more that need jobs. Anybody who we would encourage you to continue to hire our airmen and soldiers. Our service members are a shared resource. And what I mean by that is, again, we recognize that it causes pain to you when they are deployed. But we also believe that they provide an incredible resource for you, a highly trained, highly motivated workforce to come in and assist you as well. So thank you for employing them. And next slide, please. And as we say, Delaware National Guard, always ready, always there. These are some of the events that we have participated in Delaware this year. Again, some of these things were truncated because of COVID-19, but our own Major General Barry was able to participate in the Principal for a Day program. He went to his alma mater, Middletown High School, and participated there. Next slide, please. So I do have some information on funding. Some of this is going to be very general. Some of it is going to be very familiar to you. Next slide. So this is our federal budget for 2021, $120 million in federal funds coming into the state for the employment of soldiers and airmen, for their training, the equipment and support of the installations and environmental control. Next slide. I'd like you to please note the stark difference. While we bring in $120 million in federal funds in the state, into the state. We cost the state $7.4 million, $5 million in operating funds, $2.4 million in capital budget. Next slide, please. Future initiatives. Could I have the next slide, please? So we are attempting to expand our statewide solar capacity by 30%. We're already at over 1 megawatt of solar capacity, but we have the ability with some funding to expand that significantly. We're going to install a microgrid in Newcastle to ensure continuity of operations in the case of extended grid outage. We're going to talk about these other things that are listed here under the Army National Guard and the Air National Guard. We're going to talk about those issues in the next several slides. So next slide. So the Delaware Air Guard, we're trying to modernize our C-130 fleet. We are moving to the 8-bladed propeller, and so I'm a JAG officer. Like Kevin, I'm a military lawyer. Don't ask me the importance of an 8-blade propeller over a 6-blade propeller. I don't know, but apparently it's very important to the modernization of our fleet. We're also upgrading the C-130 engines. There's a new fuel cell hangar that we are that is a priority for us. What this is, as I understand it, it is storage capacity for aviation fuel, and upgrading the main gate to accommodate our current environment, so to protect the base against terroristic threats. Next slide. Oh, and before I forget, I thought it was going to be on that slide, and maybe it's somewhere else in this position. We also have a commitment to take some newer C-130s, and apparently that we are either taking possession of them soon or we just took possession of them. But I just got that information last night, and I'm not sure of the details of it. So this is a big project for the Army National Guard, in the Cheswold community. This is a roughly 36-acre piece of property. The funding for it would be 75% federal. This piece of property is critical for a couple of reasons. First of all, with the size of it, it's capable of handling at least 2 armories. It's also capable of handling a CSMS, which is a maintenance shop. And our population growth in Kent County justifies expansion in Kent County of the National Guard to provide to bring in new recruits in the Kent area. So it's where the population growth is, and it is where property is available. So we think that this is a great opportunity for the Delaware National Guard to expand and prepare for the future. Next slide, please. So this is a project that you all have heard about before. This is our CSMS shop over on the River Road facility. This was a $36 million building. It's 100% federally funded. The only thing the state had to do was we had to spend $700,000 to recreate the access road. This is essentially, my understanding is we're going through the punch list at this point. I've actually walked through the facility. It is vacant. It is not occupied at the moment, but it is almost ready for occupancy. Next slide. So the River Road training site. This is the creation. This is something that is coming, not something that is currently funded. This is a recreation of the armory out at the River Road. Again, this would be a 75% federally funded construction program to accommodate the 153rd MP Company and the 287th Army Band. Next slide. Next slide. Now, we've invested quite a bit in our Bethany Beach training site, and this is critically important to the Delaware National Guard, but at least in my view, it's also incredibly important to the community. So the Bethany Beach training site, the Delaware National Guard does use the Bethany Beach training site ourselves, but what we really use this facility for is we are a training site, a national training site. So we bring in members of the Army and Air to provide them training down in Bethany Beach. We've already created a state-of-the-art classroom down there. That is already open and occupied. And this project is to take out our World War II era barracks and replace them with a more appropriate living arrangement. So again, it would be 75% federally funded to build this. It'd provide us with about 32 rooms, and knowing how the military operates, as all of you do, that's probably 64 service members that would be capable of being housed down in that facility. Next slide. So these are the comments that the Adjutant General made directly to the state budget committees this week. So he is committed to maintaining a balanced force structure. We have an authorization, and of course I can't read the slide because our pictures are over it, but 1,650 soldiers and 1,162 Air Guard service members. The tag is, we're going to talk about it in a minute. We are committed to growing the Guard, and we'll discuss that again in a moment. We are committed to enhancing the joint operations capabilities to achieve optimal effectiveness and efficiency of operations involving Army and Air National Guard personnel. So joint operations, the day of the Army, the Air, the Marines, the Navy working in their own stovepipes and not communicating with each other is over. The key is, how do we take advantage of all of the capabilities of each force to bring to bear on a problem? And so Delaware is committed to enhancing our joint operational capability to account for that change in the way we operate. We're committed to quality recruiting and promotion and retention of our personnel. Recruiting has been particularly challenging over the last year because recruiting is a face-to-face program. So bringing in new people has been difficult. And of course, with the deployments, the incredible rate of deployments that we've had, retention is a challenge as well. So Delaware National Guard is absolutely committed to supporting our soldiers and airmen to keep them in the Delaware National Guard, but also is committed to making sure that our recruiting program is capable of handling the changing environment. We need to enhance mission readiness through effective military leadership development programs and challenging unit training. Now, with COVID-19, we have had to shut down collective unit training. And in many organizations, they've gone months without collective training. Our leadership has been, I have been incredibly proud of the way the units have adapted to that, to create effective online training. And as I said, I've been teaching at the University of Delaware for 25 years. I have to tell you, switching to online training has been brutal. I found it incredibly difficult to change from a participatory Socratic style teaching class to an online program. Our leadership at the unit level have really been incredible to meet that challenge and develop effective training. And again, to develop and participate in local, state, and national programs and partnerships that provide a positive impact on our community. We are Delaware first. We are here every day. This is where we live. This is where we work. And we are committed to supporting our state and local partners. Next slide. So this is the Grow the Guard initiative that I mentioned a moment ago. So we are going to push the Delaware Army National Guard to 2,000. So we are going to expand our force and expand our footprint in Delaware. We are going to target these recruiting opportunities to try to do that. But right now, my focus is on retention because as the slide notes, most of the people that leave, they leave at the 6-year mark. They do their initial tour and then they get out. And so to the extent that we can hold on to these particularly young kids at the 6-year mark, we can significantly increase the numbers within the Delaware National Guard. We do appreciate that this is really a family matter. The people that get out at the 6-year mark, it is frequently a decision that's part of a change in their families. My wife and my children have had to endure me missing birthdays and missing anniversaries over the years. I deployed, I went to officer basic and my daughter was, I think, I'm now been 22 years, so I'm a little bit gray, but it's been, I think my daughter was 3 months old when I went to officer basic. That's a sacrifice for my wife and my entire family. And that's what we mean by it being a family decision, because we do appreciate that staying in the Guard affects the entire family. Next slide. I'd like to highlight our educational benefits and other benefits of joining the Delaware National Guard, particularly for young folks who are looking for some support to get their education. It's 100 in-state tuition funded. We have additional scholarships, the Minuteman Scholarship, the GED opportunities that you get through the Delaware National Guard. There is both an Air and an Army National Guard tuition reimbursement program. We have excellent medical benefits through TRICARE. There's dental, vision, hearing, as well as general medical benefits associated with that. And again, the reason why we may be so valuable to you all is the paid technical training. They come in, they get leadership training, they get the opportunity to advance through a career field, and they get particularized vocational training. And next slide. And again, I think I've said it at least 3 times, it bears repeating. we can't do what we do in Delaware without our families and without all of you. The Delaware National Guard is deeply indebted to all of our employers that hire our folks and support them when they go and welcome them back with open arms after they've been deployed. So thank you all. Again, thank you to the award recipients. Congratulations on your awards, and thank you for your incredible support of our service members. So I'm happy to take some questions. Some things you may be interested. Unfortunately, I will be limited in what I can say, but I am happy to take some questions.
We did not have any questions in the chat, but I did want to highlight that there has been a lot of praise for the impressive work that the Guard is doing both in Delaware and worldwide. And I also just wanted to highlight that Christine did put some information in the chat for those attending about how to join the Guard, who to contact for recruiting, if you want to become an honorary commander, be part of the honorary commander program, and also if your company is hiring and is looking to hire guardsmen. So check out the chat for all of that information.
And so again, thank you all for your incredible support. Since I don't have a question, I'm going to say again, thank you all for your incredible support. And also thank you for tolerating the Zoom method of delivering the program this year. I'm glad that I don't have like a cat face on for those of you who've seen those videos, or if you haven't seen that one, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google courtroom cat video. You'll appreciate it. It's gone through the legal community like wildfire. So hopefully the technical difficulties weren't too immense today, and thank you very much. Jamie or Kevin?
General, thank you. As I said, it really is a privilege to be able to have made the introduction, to have you with us today. And again, congratulations on a terrific milestone. You know, now you can also put the flag with the star in the courtroom. I'll be looking forward to that the next time I see you in the Court of Common Pleas.
I don't know that the chief judge would appreciate that, but I'll fly it outside my house. How about that, Kevin?
That works, sir. Thank you very much. Now it is my great privilege to introduce United States Senator Chris Coons. Senator Coons has been a terrific support, and we are extremely pleased and privileged to have him in person today. I do see that he is on the line and ready. So without further ado, Senator, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Thank you to General Danberg for that presentation, and to all the members of the Delaware National Guard who serve bravely and honorably to keep us safe here at home, in our nation's capital, and abroad. Congratulations to Bank of America and the Middletown Chamber of Commerce for being recognized today, and all of you who are members of the State Chamber and the County Chamber for your support of the Guard. As someone who is also an employer of an active member of the National Guard, Captain Mackey, who was deployed, activated for 100 days during these most recent challenging times, I got to see firsthand how his experience and training and service as a guardsman over many years has also contributed to our work here in my office, where he performs some of the same duties in terms of communications and outreach that he's performing when he is activated as a guardsman. So I recognize, as General Danberg has, that it is at times a challenge logistically to have guardsmen in your workforce, but I think the contributions that you make as employers and the contributions that our members of the Delaware Guard make to our state and our community more than outweigh any possible inconvenience. So for those of you who are employers of members of the Guard, thank you again. For those of you who are considering either joining the Guard yourselves or hiring from among the Delaware National Guard, it is a great experience and very rewarding. I have had some changes in my assignments in the Senate that I'll just briefly mention. As some of you know, I'm an appropriator. That means I'm a member of the committee of 30 senators that decides every year how to spend roughly $1.2 trillion. I am the new chair of the State and Foreign Operations Subcommittee, which has control over about $55 billion. That's all of our State Department and USAID and development programs. And I've joined the Military Construction and VA Appropriations Subcommittee, which is helpful because it has a direct oversight over our investments in the Army, the Air Force, sister agencies, things that may well be of interest to those on this call: family housing, construction, operation and maintenance for DoD, the U.S. Court of Appeals for veterans claims, an area where my constituent services folks have helped represent Guard members, particularly those with veteran status, and the entire Department of Veterans Affairs. So I look forward to being an advocate for Delaware and Delawareans and members of the Guard in that new platform I have at Milcon VA. I know this has been a challenging time for our nation and our Guard. As the Congresswoman referenced previously, I was impressed, not at all surprised, but encouraged by the number of Delaware Guardsmen who volunteered for activation in Delaware and Washington, both to support the vital COVID-19 missions that General Danberg just related in great detail, but also for election security and for protection at the U.S. Capitol. I had the honor of meeting along with our delegation with Senator Carper and Congresswoman Blunt Rochester with a group of the Delaware members of our Guard who were activated in Washington, to thank them, to congratulate them, to recognize a few of them who've achieved particularly impressive moments, milestones in their lives, and to thank them for not just securing the Capitol and allowing the inauguration to go forward, but for demonstrating to the world the role of citizen soldiers in our democracy. Let me just close by making a brief reference to the state partnership program that General Danberg also referenced. I am hopeful that Cabo Verde, which is an island nation, many of us know it as Cape Verde, that's off the coast of Africa and is a former Portuguese colony, a country that is really like Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, and an offloading or an access point for illicit transactions, and a small but stable and secure multi-party democracy that would benefit greatly from a partnership with Delaware. I'm hopeful that application will be successful. So let me not delay you overly. I just wanted to thank all of you, members of the Chamber, members of our community, and in particular, members who are contributing to our state and national security through Delaware's National Guard. Thank you all very much.
Senator, thank you again for being able to have the time for us today. We're very privileged to have a really great team working for us in DC, and I can't thank you enough for your time today. So closing remarks, looks like we have run a little bit over. I'm simply going to say to my fellow members of the Joint Military Affairs Committee, my thanks for your commitment and dedication to our mission. I think we're doing a great job, and I think we, have a lot to do this year. As we open up, I think we'll get some great things accomplished. I would like to thank very, very importantly, Jamie Watts from the County Chamber, Elena Rodriguez from the State Chamber, and I would be remiss not to thank Christine Kubik. These three folks made today happen, and they make us look good every day. So a big shout out to all of you. To the sponsors, again, Assurance Media, Auto Team Delaware, and Offutt Kerman. And a huge shout out to all the members of the Guard who have participated in all of these missions throughout the year. To you and your families, we owe a tremendous debt of gratitude. Lastly, a huge thank you to all the employers for supporting your National Guard, standing always ready and always there. And congratulations to Bank of America and to Middletown Chamber of Commerce. Lastly, to borrow from an old recruiting slogan, You all can now say that you have accomplished more by 10 o'clock in the morning than most people accomplish all day. Thank you all very much and have a wonderful day.
Have a great day, everyone.